people have wanted, well, actually hundreds of people have sent me emails and they have wanted to see lots more Complextro tutorials. So that's what I've done here. Okay, I've been meaning to do it for a while, and I've got something here for you guys. So that loop is this new style of electro house. They're calling it Complextro, I think. And the masters of this probably would be, in my opinion, the master of this right now is Lazy Rich. He's right on top of this. So Paul Robinson, everyone knows him. Dirty Loud, Darth Invader, Spencer and Hill. They're all making this style. What's new about this Complextro compared to the old electro house? The old electro house, when they used a bass line, it was just the one sounding bass line, and to make the riff and the melody, they would just change the notes. Okay, so they'd play the scale, and that would be the bass line. These days, the melody and the riff is not so much changing of the notes, it's changing of the sounds. So you fit sounds together to make the riff and to make it interesting. They're not using, 7 different notes in the scale or whatever, They're just changing the sounds, and that is what's making the riff. So you can sort of see here, I'm looking at my screen, everything is all cut together and it's all fitting in like a puzzle. So that's how all the melodies and stuff are made, by changing the sounds. How I go about making this, I was going to try and make, and I still might, a video where I make it from scratch. It's going to be hard though, because you don't make these loops in 10 minutes. They can take 2 hours to 2 days to get something to sound good. A lot of you guys have sent me messages saying that you're really struggling and what's the answer? Unfortunately, there is no answer. You just have to keep on struggling until you finally put together some sounds that actually work and gel together and actually sound like a melody. But I mean, I don't know if this one I've just showed you here actually works, sounds good. You guys can be the judge, but it sounds alright, and it sounds like it's making a decent melody. So I thought I'd show you how I start. Well, first of all, the best way that I taught myself is when I had, say 10 instrument channels down the left hand side here. This is a good way to start and learn. Okay, choose one bass line, choose one sound that's going to be your foundation bass line. Okay, so that's the one that's kind of going to keep repairing throughout your loop. So for me, it was this sound here. Okay, so that was the foundation sound that I kept on using. Also, the next ones I used to line up would be a wobble. Okay, so I'd have a filter LFO, and then I'd have a pitch LFO, and then I'd have one that would make a sound pitch up, and then I'd have one that would make a sound pitch down, and then I'd have another instrument that was like a high trancey super saw sound, and then I'd have a sampler here that had effects, and then I'd have a sampler here that had one shots, hit one shot stabs. What else? And then I had other ones that would filter up a sound or filter down a sound. So down this left hand side here, I'd basically have maybe up to 10, and I'd have them all perfectly labelled, and it would say foundation bass, pitch up, pitch down, and that is what I would use. I'd start off with, I usually always start off with just a blast with the foundation bass. Okay, so I'd usually start off with a couple of blasts with the foundation bass, and then I would, leave the gaps in there, and then I would go and fill that in, and then I'd choose any of the synths that I had down the left hand side, and I'd maybe choose a bleep from the FX, okay, or maybe I would choose to fill in this little hole here in the offbeat. I'd maybe choose a filter up or a filter down, anything. But that is the key. You need to know that if you listen to these guys' Lazy Rich songs, he's got these different sounds, okay, and basically I just sat there and listened to the songs for hours, worked out the different sounds that they were using, then they were just puzzling them together, making them fit, and that's how I did it. So more on this loop, okay, more on this loop, again, like I've said in couple of my other videos, I start at one loop at a time, okay, so this is how I started this loop. Just turn the hats off. And then I added this sound in here. I don't know why they're not in order, but it's because I've been playing around for this song to hopefully make it into another song. So this pitch bass here came in second. Okay, so the offbeat was this high pitch bass. Then came in this filter sound. Okay, most of these are all done in silent, and a couple of them are in massive. Particularly this foundation bass sound for me, it was made in massive. Okay, so what was next? So then came this wobble. Then came in this trancey type sound. This is actually just a preset. So you can see there I've got 5 sounds. Alright, I've got 5 sounds within that first loop. So that it's given me a good start. So that's how I had it to start with that's how I had it start when I was just first making this track. Then I moved on to this one here, and then I brought this sound in. Just make sure I got them all muted. Yeah, this sound here I brought in, you can see is first on this next bar. And you can kind of see, here you go, on the foundation I've used that hit once more in that second bar. And again, this pitch bass, I've used it again. But I've also got in some more sounds here. So, grasshopper, which is this sound. Unmute it, silly boy. Like a stab. Okay. And I got these 2 sounds. We'll back up. And this one down here. Okay. So then, this is how the second little bar sounded. Together, this is how the first 2 bars sounded when I was making this. Okay, but I usually always try and make the loop, you know, this long here, 4 bars. Okay, and then I added in, you can see here, basically, for this next 2 bars, I basically reused all those same sounds, and I've just got a couple more in here. This one, another stab, I think. Another stab. Just unmute those ones. This one here is a bender down. And this one, what's this one here? I've added it in there as well. Another sort of like a pitch bass, pitch bend. So, this is what the second half. Well, no, because I make them bar by bar, right? So I made those first 2 I just showed you, and then I would have added this third one in here. Okay, and then I would have added in this last bit here. Okay, so for example, this sound here, you can hear it. I had some filter action on it. So that was just me automating the cutoff. There you go. Just builds up that cutoff there. And again, I had the wobble extended. Okay, so that's how I made that first one. Now then, in terms of note selection, guys, because I get a lot of emails saying they don't know what notes to play. I keep it pretty simple. In this tune here, in this loop, I've nearly used D note for all of these sounds. I used D, and then I used the D. You know, I got up an octave and a D. And the other 2 notes that I've used, I believe, was an F and a G. Okay, I've only used 3 different notes, just because once you play a D in a different sounding synth, you know, it doesn't matter. You can't almost tell it's a D. I mean, if you're musically trained, you probably can. But in terms of the sound actually changes, so it's not like you're just hitting D, 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 D. You know, it doesn't sound like that, that bad because you're not hitting the same synth. So note selection, choose 2 or 3 notes, they work together, and just keep using those same 3 notes in all the different sounds. That'll be fine. I don't know how the pros do it, but that's just how I do it, and it seems to sound alright. Now in this next loop here, I've basically used it again, but what I do is I actually I do like to change it up. So for example, this one here, all I did was the second time I played it round, I just played it an octave higher. Now the wobble, this one here, I think the notes descend down, and then in the end here they go up. So they get, oops, sorry, cut that off too soon. I'll do that again. So the notes go up in that one just to keep it fresh, and you can see in this the first time I've used this loop, that's gone down, bended down, and this one here, and the second time I've gone up. Oh, unsolo it. No, solo it. Go up. Okay, just to keep it fresh. I don't change a whole lot when I play it the second time round, but if you make subtle changes, it's very important because the listener will actually, you know, they will hear the repetitiveness. So I do slightly change things up. Usually there'll be a pitch down or a pitch up, and then the second time round I'll reverse it and I'll do the opposite. So I'll pitch up where it was pitching down, or I'll filter down where I was filtering up. Something like that. Just find something to change it up. But yeah, I hope that's helped out. I plan to do more tutorials and stuff, but yeah, this is the most requested tutorial I've had, just to show stuff on how to make this Complextro style, because it's driving people mental because it's so difficult to make, and it really is. It's not easy, but just keep on going, and you'll get there. So if you like this video, let me know, or would like the sound, let me know. Hopefully I'll be making this into a full track. But yeah, I hope this helped out some people. Thanks, guys.